it's Mrs. Bailey, and I am going to videotape this math lesson for lesson 3 for our Eureka. Getting creative here and setting up my camera and so forth. And I hope you learn from this video and also realize I might stumble a little bit, make some mistakes, be patient with me, but the goal is I want you to be able to be comfortable with this learning goal. Now, hopefully, before you start this math lesson, I would like you to do the assigned Eureka lesson that representing fractions with multiplication. I know a couple of you have already done it, so that will be an advantage for you when I'm teaching this right now. But if you have not done that math lesson online, I'd like you to do that if you have the capability. If not, we'll just continue with me right now. So today's lesson is decompose non-unit fractions and represent them as a whole number times a unit fraction using tape diagrams. Whew, that's a mouthful. I think this is more explanatory. Or taking, yes, and I will make mistakes, 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 3/4. Instead of doing that repeated addition, we will go to multiplication, showing 3 times 1/4 equals 3/4. So that's today's goal. But before we get started, let's do a little bit of a warm-up. Okay, now first off, I'd like you to have your Eureka math book with you, the ones you took home on the last day of school. So if you don't have it with you right now, pause and go get it and come back. Okay, hopefully everybody has their workbook right now. And what we're going to do, if you have scratch paper at home, fantastic. If not, use the pages on the inside like we've done in class, the blank pages that are in there to use and to do your math work and draw tape diagrams. So we're going to start with lesson 3, and we're going to do, I believe it's about page 15. We're not going to do the application problem, but I want to do a little bit of a warm-up. And I'm going to ask you to kind of talk out loud, maybe to yourself or whoever's around you. And I'm doing the same here, and we're going to learn together. Okay, so first off, okay, here we go. Look familiar? Okay, say this with me. 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals, okay, what does it equal, boys and girls? Easy, equals 6. Okay, that's, general first grade math. Now when we take it here, what times 2? Okay, how many 2's do you have? And you're right, it's 3. And 3 times 2, as we know, equals 6. Okay, got it? All right, now let's go to, let's say it with me. 30 plus 30 plus 30 equals, got it? Yes, it equals 90. Okay, because we know 3 plus 3 equals 6, 6 plus 3 equals 9. So when you do the tens, it equals 90. That's a lot of writing, so let's go and make it into a multiplication sentence. Okay, how many 30s are there? There's 3, you got it. Okay, and what does 3 times 30 equal? 90, you got it. Because you know that 3 times 3 equals 9. Add the 0, and you've got 90. Okay, now let's go down here. Let's say this together. 32 plus 32 plus 32 equals. Okay, think about it, think about it. Notice we already did the tens. We already did the ones. Okay, so think, what were my tens? What were my ones? Put them together, and you get, yes, 96. Okay, so now, instead of saying 32 plus 32 plus 32, let's make it into a multiplication sentence. Okay, how many 32's do we have? 3, exactly. 3 times 32 equals 96. There you go. Okay, so notice with repeated addition, which takes up a lot of space and also takes up time, we can shorten it up using multiplication. So remember that idea today. Okay, so boys and girls, starting off, here is a fraction bar. Okay, so this fraction bar, I want you first to look, this is one whole. Okay, now look at it. How many parts is the whole broken into? 4, exactly. Okay, now I want you to think about how many are shaded. How many parts of the whole are shaded? Okay, so I have, here's a 4th, and we're going to add another, and then we're going to add another. Okay,
So what's that equal?
1 plus 1 plus 1. So what fraction of the whole is shaded? Easy peasy. 3/4. Okay? Now, this is what we were doing in lesson 1 and 2. We were doing our repeated addition. But when you think about it, boys and girls, let's shorten it up just like we did in that warm-up. How many 1/4 do you have? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I have 3. And how many equal groups? Notice this looks the same, this looks the same, and this looks the same. So that means they're equal groups, which mean they're each this. Okay, and 3 times 1/4, just like we did before. Whoa, that is so much easier, isn't it, boys and girls? Instead of going 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 3/4, there's 3 of them, so let's use our multiplication skills. 3 times 1/4 equals 3/4. Notice that I'm only multiplying the numerator, the number of parts. The denominator doesn't change. Notice these didn't turn into smaller pieces. They didn't turn into 12, so I wouldn't say 3/12. I'm only talking about the number of units. So my unit fraction is 1/4. I have 3 of them, so that makes a total of 3/4. So that doesn't seem so hard, does it? So now let's look down here. Okay, first off, we got a 1 whole. Count up how many parts. Okay, I hope you're saying 6 to yourselves. Okay, we have 6. So each unit is 1/6. Okay, so I'm going to shade some of these in. Okay, how many did I shade in? That's pretty easy. I shaded in 4. So here's 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. Okay, and you put them all together, 1, 2, 3, 4. You have a total of 4/6. Okay, so boys and girls, let's turn this into our multiplication sentence. I would like you now, on the blank page of your workbook, I want you to write down what is our unit fraction. What is the size of the part that we're adding up? Go ahead and write it now. Go ahead and do it. Don't wait for me. You can do it. So the unit fraction always has a 1 in the numerator. So we have 1/6. Okay. Now what I want you to do, I want you to put in how many parts did we just add together? How many equal parts? Got it? You got it. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4. Okay, so 4 times 1/6 equals, dun, da, da, da. Say it for me. I didn't hear you. Yes, 4/6. Because 4 times 1 is 4. The denominator doesn't change. Wow, this is so much easier than doing repeated addition. Now let me show you where it really pays off. Okay. Okay, boys and girls, I want you to draw a tape diagram that looks like mine. Okay, first start off, let's see. We're gonna draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I want you to draw a fraction bar. I'll draw it with you. Okay, draw your fraction bar. Got it? Okay, break it in half. Okay, break the halves in half. So now we have 4ths, but we need 8ths. So we break the 4ths in half again. So in the end, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. Okay, this is our whole. Let's mark it. Okay, well in this math problem, something's hanging on right there. We got some hanger-oners right there. So we're gonna add them on. I'm gonna add on another and another. They look kind of about the same, okay? All right, so what's the size of all these units? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Or is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Is it 8? 8 or 10, 8 or 10, 8 or 10, what do you think? Well, let's look what the size of the whole is. The whole is 8. Okay, so that means each fractional piece is an 8th. And we got some extras here. Okay,
So let's go ahead. I want you to start labeling. We're going to add all these pieces up together. And I know you're telling yourself, I already know how many there are, Mrs. Bailey. Why do I have to write all these individual fractional units? It's a waste of time. No, it's not a waste of time. It's helping you learn. Oh. All right, did you get them all written down? Okay, count them up. How many do you have? How many in all? How many of these do we have? Okay, what do you have? Well, I came up with 10. Did you agree? Do you have 10 of them? If you do, good job. 10 what? The denominator doesn't change, so we have 10/8. Okay, yes, that is greater than a whole. Sometimes, you know, if you get a pizza, you get 2 of them, you eat 1 whole pizza and just 2 more slices, you don't eat both wholes, you just eat 1 whole and a little extra. That's kind of what we have, is a little extra. We have 2 1/8 extras. Now, this repeated addition takes up a lot of space, so let's use multiplication to make it easier. Okay, how many eighths do we have? You have 10. What is the size of the unit fraction? What is each piece equal to? You see right there, it's pretty obvious. What is 10 times 1? Piece of cake. And then the denominator doesn't change. There you go. So that's where we're taking unit fractions and we are using multiplication to represent what is in the tape diagram. That is so much easier than what we were doing with all that repeated addition. Okay, so now, boys and girls, Mrs. Bailey doesn't have a student workbook like you do. So I have to kind of change things up a little bit. So can you also, on your workbook page, let's go ahead and we're going to represent this fraction. Okay, so would you work with me right now, boys and girls? We're going to draw this, okay? The fraction is, say it aloud, 5/8. Okay, so how many pieces are in the whole? Look at the denominator, 8. Okay, let's draw a tape diagram. Okay, so it's 8s. So here's my little trick again. 8 is a multiple of 2, so break it in half, 2 pieces. Break your halves in halves for fourths, and break your fourths in half to make 8s. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of time. Go ahead and draw your whole represented by 8s. Okay, and now I know I have to indicate that this is 1 whole, so let's do our little line up here. It shows this whole fraction bar, this whole tape diagram equals 1 whole. Okay, now we're going to shade. Okay, with your pencil, pen, whatever you got, boys and girls, let's shade in what this represents. Well, what's the numerator say? 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there we go. 5. Okay, now we are going to use multiplication to represent this. 5/8. Go ahead and put your fraction. It is equal. Okay, this is so easy. You're going to be mind blown. What does your numerator say? How many parts were shaded? 5. There's 5 parts. And how many unit fractions did you shade in? You did 5. And what is each unit fraction worth? 1. Okay, because that's 1 part. See how simple that is? Okay, let's do one more. Let's draw, let's do 6. Okay. Let's try 4, 6. Okay. All right, boys and girls, let's draw the tape diagram to represent 4, 6. Okay, 6 is a little trickier. It is an even number, So I can divide my tape diagram in half, but I need to make this smaller. I need to make this 3 and a 3. So I'm going to put 2 lines, 1, 2, 3. On the other half, 2 lines for 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, make sure you have that. Go ahead and draw your tape diagram. Got it? Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is shade in what this fraction represents. How many parts are we going to shade in? Yeah. There we go, 4 of them. And now we're going to write the multiplication sentence. Okay, how many parts did you shade in? 4, exactly. What is a unit fraction? That's it. Sometimes things in math seem like they're too easy that it makes it hard. Don't let this get hard for you. This is exactly how we do them. Okay, well, because I do not have a math book, I had to use my teacher's guide and copy what you have. I'd like you to turn to page, I think it's going to be page 17. Okay, your lesson 3 problem set, okay? So go ahead and turn to the page where you see these 5 fraction bars. Okay, to make sure you're on the right page, make sure your directions say, decompose each fraction modeled by a tape diagram as a sum of the unit fractions. Write the equivalent multiplication sentence. The first one has been done for you. Well, the first one has been done for you, but I haven't done it. So as we see, okay, we have a total of how many parts? 4. How many are shaded? 3. Okay, so that's our fraction. And when we do repeated addition, we have 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. That equals 3/4. So you have that in your book. And then you see they showed how to represent it with multiplication. 3/4 equals how many are shaded? 3 times 1/4. Oh my gosh, that's so easy. Why don't we do that all the time? Okay, I'm going to do one of these with you, and then I'm going to count on you to do the other 3 on your own. Okay? So let's pick C. Okay, let's look at C. So I'm going to have you do B, D, and E on your own. C, first thing you do, count up the pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so our unit fraction is 6. How many are shaded of our 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Okay, now we're going to do how many units are added together. Okay, if there's 6, each one is worth 1. 1 6 plus 1 6 plus 1 6 plus 1 6 plus 1 6. So I have to do that 5 times because that's what repeated addition is. Now we're going to go to make it easier. Our 5 6 as a multiplication problem is equal to 5 times 1 6. That's it. Okay, I want you to do B, D, and E on your own. Okay. Now, before you get started, we're also going to look at the next page. Turn the page. I believe it's page 18. And you will see these 2 parts, 2 and 3. Let's focus on 2 first. You will notice, I hope, look at this, both of them are bigger than a whole. They got extra. This is where the whole stops, right here. So it says write the following fractions greater than 1 as the sum of 2 products. Okay, so how do I do that, Mrs. Booley? Easy peasy, watch here. I will do A with you, and then I want you to do B on your own. Okay, so let's figure out what is the unit fraction. Okay, this whole is broken into thirds. But there's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shaded. So our fraction completely is 5/3 because there's 5 total, but they're only the size of 1/3 each. Okay, so let's group these together. I'm going to use parentheses. How many are in the whole that are shaded? 1, 2, 3. 3 times, what's the unit fraction? 1/3. See? 1/3. Now let's add on the extra. Okay, How many are shaded? I'm going to put these in parentheses because we're going to group. There's only 1, 2. 2. What's the unit fraction? It hasn't changed. It's still a third. Ta-da! That's it. What? See, 3 plus 2 is 5. And the denominator doesn't change. It's still thirds. So I would like you to do this B on your own. Now, finally, I'd like you to practice on doing part 3. Okay? Now, I'm going to do one of the harder ones for you. I think you can draw a type diagram and record the given fractions decomposition into unit fractions as a multiplication sentence. So hooray, hooray, no repeated addition on part 3. It's all multiplication. Okay, so I'm going to do D with you because I notice my numerator is greater than my denominator. So that means I have a tape diagram that is greater than a whole. Okay, so this is what I'd like you to do. Look at your denominator first, and you're going to get ready to draw it. So I'm going to draw my whole first. Okay, so I'm going to put my whole here. And I'm going to break it into fourths. Those are easy. Break half, and then 2 more. Okay, so there's 4 fourths. 4 fourths, to get to 7, I need to add on 3 more. So this is what I'm going to do. Remember, it's not perfect. 1 fourth, 2 fourths, 3 fourths. And now, boys and girls, I have a model for 7 fourths. Okay? And then I'm going to shade it all in. 6, 7. Okay. Now, here's the cool part. No more repeated addition. I'm going to use my multiplication sentences. Okay, so my fraction is 7 fourths. Okay, how many pieces did we shade in? What does the numerator say? It says 7. We got 7 parts. What is the individual unit fraction? Well, my denominator is 4. And a unit fraction always, did I say always again? Yes, always has a 1 because it's 1 unit. And that's all you do. So boys and girls, I would like you to do page B, D, and E. And then I'd like you to do 2B. And then 3, A, B, C, E. You got this, boys and girls. And of course, what's great about this video, if you missed anything, you can rewind and listen to me again and go over parts. Now you might say, how do I prove to you, Mrs. Bailey, I actually did this? Well, what kind of things are a little crazy, but here's what I'd like you to do. Now, as your parents are getting this message through Remind, your parents can also send me pictures through Remind. Or you can email me too through your school account. So I'd love to see your work. And if you would, boys and girls, I miss seeing you. I'd love to see your cute little faces. If you could take a picture of both, that your work, I would love to see it, and I can tell how you did. So what you can do is take a picture one side, flip it over, take a picture on the other side. And even if you want to put your little face in there, like holding it up, I would love that. And then have your parents or you, because I know you all are really good with technology, go in the Remind app, send that picture to me, and I will see it. If there's any trouble, go onto your Google Mail account. That's your 9-digit number at vistausd.org. And in your email, you can send it to me. You have to download your picture. But whatever is easiest, boys and girls, if you can send me some kind of evidence of your work, I would love to see how you're doing, and I hope to see you really soon. Take care, and again, any questions, feel free to email me. I'd love to hear from you. Take care. Have a fabulous day.